city sleeps and the lights go low. Questions arise on how rules flow. Sean's here to guide in the quiet night air, bringing truth and justice with a steady stare. After dark we roll, the questions ignite. Let's talk about the road in the calm moonlight. It's more than cars, it's how we steer. Sean Shapiro's voice is crystal clear. Brake lights shimmer, the stories unfold. Traffic and wisdom, stories retold. Seatbelt tight, let's cruise down this lane. Answers from Sean, it's never in vain. The road is long, but the talk is real. Regrets and curiosity, both we can heal. Reflections deep as the asphalt winds.
I just never get so I just get so emotional with that song. I like that song. It's fun. Hey everybody, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And guess what? Today we have a guest. We have Brian Max. And before I bring him on screen, you should know he's driving, so he can't see us. We can see him. We can hear him. He can hear us. It's like speakerphone. What's going on? Driving guy.
It's going, and driving something that's a lot of fun. One of my cameras just turned off. Sorry for the noise. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you just actually. I'm going to try and boost you a little bit because I think you're a little low. Maybe anyone watching who tells me what your volume is will be able to tell me. But it's an amazing thing. We had that car. So I was with Brian all day today, and the vehicle that he's operating, it's a pretty tricked out toy.
It's an interesting thing, and I didn't do a lot of research until just before I picked this up. This is a 2025 Rivian R1S. It's a 3-row SUV made in America, but it's all electric, and it's been out for a little while. For 2025, they've updated a lot of things, but I have no frame of reference because I've never driven a Rivian before, and this thing has blown my mind in many, many ways.
I actually love it. I had so much fun driving it today. There was a no, I can't repeat what I said earlier when I was driving it, but I absolutely loved it. It was it shook me. It left me shook. It is fast, man.
Yeah, it's 850 horsepower. It has over 1,100 pounds-feet of torque, and it officially accelerates from 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds.
2.9, I think is what you said. You broke up a little bit, but it's insane. And I had like permagrin for a good period of time afterwards. So much so that I think I want one. My wife says it looks kind of like a serpenty reptile thing, and she doesn't like it that much. But I think it's pretty cool.
Thing is unique, and they've done that to differentiate what Rivian is doing, but it fit and finish is excellent, rivals anything at this price point, and it's not inexpensive. It's over $170,000 Canadian, but there are less costly versions of this. This just happens to be near the top. But the inside, the interior, like if you wanted to spend time in any vehicle, like if you want to spend any time in any vehicle, like, you know, on a daily commute, this is just a gorgeous place to be. It's better than what Volvo does, and as far as I'm concerned, Volvo has set the aesthetic standard for vehicle interiors a long time ago. This just takes it to a new level.
Now, for anyone who's watching who doesn't know who you are, this is Brian Max, and you are more than just a guy on YouTube. I met you because of the radio show you were hosting, and then you got the big YouTube channel doing car reviews. You're a journalist. You write about car stuff and things. You have a racing team. You're a race car driver and instructor. Like you have many hats, and you like cigars.
And yeah, I do like cigars. I had one today. I had an American cigar to go with this American SUV. But I come at cars with the perspective of a racing driver. So two things. I'm focused on how the vehicle interfaces with the driver, and then how it responds to the driver. I really don't care about features and functions and buttons and that kind of nonsense. I'm interested in driving. So if you're interested in features, well, as far as I'm concerned, they have brochures for that. I don't do that.
You have a different approach, and I think it's awesome. Do I have a tag for you? I do have a tag for you here, Brian Max at Brian Max. If you want to check out Brian's stuff, if you want to know about driving stuff and things, whether it be asking questions of Brian about cars because he's driven everything, and if you want to talk about racing, he's your man. But if you want to talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, that's my bag, and I'm here to provide if you got questions. But just to acknowledge a couple of people who are in the room. We got David Dett, who is my brother from another mother, who's currently at OPC doing a course of something or other. We've got Fane and Sugar Sharoland, and then Fane and Andrew in on TikTok with comments, and Derek as well, who just followed. If you're watching and you don't follow, please follow. If you're watching on TikTok, please tap until your fingers go numb. And if you're watching anywhere else, ask questions. You can ask on anyone. If you're watching, that's a place to send a comment. Carl Freeman says, "Good evening, Sean." He's coming in from X. Stephen Bell, who's in London, Ontario, says, "Hi, Sean. How are you today?" Carl Freeman following up with, "I just drive a GMC Terrain or Terrian. Is that Terrain or a Terrian?"
Terrain.
Okay. I assumed, but I don't want to make an assumption. They make all sorts of weird names for stuff now. And Brandon, who has the dark horse and the Corvette and is being globetrotting, well, south of the border trotting. He's been in Miami, in Orlando, and then he was just in Indianapolis with his dark horse, because I think he left his Corvette in Florida. But he says, "Hello, Sean and all from Orangeville, Ontario. Finally home for a bit. Hope you had a fantastic day." I did. I don't think I got much color, although I was out in the sun. You look like you got some color, though. Maybe it's street lamps as you drive.
Well, I did get a little color this morning for sure, and the vitamin D is welcome.
Yeah, we got to get it. Take advantage of it while it's available. Toronto Stu says, "Hey there. How are you?" I'm doing well. And Spider jumped in. Yes, Spider, Mike does have a nice Mustang. A good friend of ours has a beautiful Mustang that he bought for his missus. I actually have to do a review of a Mustang in the next little while, because this is a 2017 Mustang that I'm going to take. I'm taking a crack at doing some car reviews, and I'm doing it with a stable of vehicles I have available to me, because it is an interesting thing to do. I've been looking at all the fancy new cars with Brian, but I'm looking at some older cars, some things that people maybe left overlooked. Maybe it's something you might want to drive but never thought of getting inside. So I'm going to look at some of those older cars. A couple of things that I'm looking at a 2017 Mustang. I'm looking at a 2001. What the heck is it? It's a I told you what it was earlier. It's a oh my goodness, what is it called? It's a Viper, Dodge Viper, a classic Mercedes.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I got a couple of cool rides that I'm going to be playing with. Not my rides,
the
rides.
Vipers. Yeah, the Viper's very cool, and at one point in my racing career, I raced Vipers and did okay.
Oh yeah, my buddy has wanted that car for a long time. Finally bought it. And we're also doing some cool stuff. We're designing on 3D. I've got to print out a prototype tonight. A plate mount. Nobody seems to have front plates on Vipers because they don't want to drill into the very, very, very costly front bumper. So I'm working on a design for a 3D mounted front license plate mount because there's no tow hook adapter apparently.
No, it's yeah, that's a cool thing, and you'll be able to sell those 3D plans on whatever it is, the 3D printer.
I imagine so, and
deals
or print them out
Yeah.
and sell them. But at the end of the day, right now it's about finding a solution to my friend's problem and going from there. R Spill says, "Hi, are you still interested on the intersection thing?" So funny thing, yes, absolutely. That was a one video that I posted, and it's really just the tip of the iceberg, asking about areas in cities in the GTA or areas in the GTA that have an issue. Today, Brian and I actually did a little drive around in Whitby looking for problems. I don't want to spill the beans, but Whitby's doing okay.
I was surprised, but yes, Whitby drivers are not bad.
Well, at least the cross section. And this is not a fair evaluation. This was a 30-minute drive in traffic looking for violators, and I really didn't see any. Nothing major. I found an e-bike rider that was appalling, but other than that,
yeah.
So yeah.
No, they were. It was definitely not scientific, but still, not a sound sample size. But we drove around enough of Whitby to appreciate what the sort of driving culture is there, and it's not too bad.
And without doing a thorough scientific analysis where you take a long, you take that sampling over a long period of time and really get numbers, you can't do a fair analysis. So we're not being fair. We're being totally unfair, and we're going to be totally unfair with every intersection that we go to, and just see how that sampling does. So we started in Whitby because we were there shooting some other stuff, and we're going to be checking out other intersections and areas over the coming months and days, weeks, months, years. Yeah, we're going to keep this going and report back. So creating a lot of content for everyone to hopefully enjoy. I think it's going to be very interesting as we continue with this, but a lot of fun too.
Yeah, I'm very happy with our pilot episode, and I think we've got a good plan going forward. But I think, especially driving in the Toronto area, we've got endless material.
Well, if we're in the city, I know all the places to find all the problems. So absolutely. But I'm interested in seeing the other places because so many people are telling me that there are hotspots. So the video that I posted yesterday, I think it was yesterday, has over 25,000 views now and tons of comments of places to go. So I'm having ChatGPT analyze all those intersections and give me sort of a lay of the land, an instruction manual of where to go. Some people were really rude as to where they thought I should go. Like someone said I should stand in the middle of the QEW because they were hoping that it would end the misery that is my interference with their speeding. But, aside from that, Yahoo, actually, there was a couple. Yeah, the lovely thing about TikTok is that it automatically filters the dum-dums, so no one sees it except me.
Oh, that's good. And for drivers like that, all I can say is take it to the track. And if you think you're a better driver than me, I have 2 race cars. Come on out and prove it.
Yes, but they got to be willing to pay the bill when they crash, and that's the problem. So many people think that racing is just hitting the gas and going. It ain't that. This ain't that.
No, when I'm behind the wheel on the racetrack, it's like meditation because I've been doing it for a long time, and it's one of the few things that I can do to escape the everyday world. And I happen to be pretty good at it, but been doing it for so long that it's just one of those things where I'm perfectly at peace.
And my brother was recently in Vegas and was driving the Vegas. There's some kind of Vegas experience that you can do. So he was in a Porsche GT something or other, just killing it on the track and loved every second of it. So he says we have to go.
Oh, you should go. You really should go.
Do they have something I'll fit into? That's really the question.
You'd fit into a Porsche 911 GT3. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Okay. He's 6'3" and he fit.
Yep.
I'm working on fitting into smaller things. It's a slow process. Spider says or asks if I can fit into a Viper with my height, and I think it'll be a bit of a squish, but I'm going to make it work for the purposes of evaluating the car.
I'm pretty sure that that particular model has a removable roof panel, so you're totally fine.
Yes. With the assistance of a removable roof, I may be able to get into it. We got Spider who wants to know if you're driving a Lexus, and no, the pilot is currently operating a Rivian, and data is currently skipping out, so you're frozen for a moment. But what is it? It's an R1S, S1R. I don't know what order it comes in.
Yeah, it's the R1S tri-motor.
And it's batshit crazy as to how fast that thing goes. I may have said some things when I hit the gas. I was not expecting that kind of take up and go, and yeah, it was fast.
And like I said, I've experienced full throttle in this. You did not get to 100% throttle when you accelerated. So there's more there still. And the funny thing is, the fact that this does 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds, I think is the least interesting thing about it.
Well, I love the fact that while we were hanging out, we found, well, you showed me the removable boombox Bluetooth speaker that you can, take with you while you're trekking it outdoors. So you shouldn't be without your audio companion, system. And then I looked at the driver door and I'm like, what's that? And it was a freaking rechargeable flashlight in the door. And he froze, but I have a photo. Can I put up the photo? Truly cool. I loved every second of driving this thing. Brian is currently traveling on the 407.
Yeah.
He is, he's back. I hear audio again, but he's frozen. So he's driving. His screen is not visible to him, so he's not breaking the law, but he is joining us via audio, and we can see him, but he can't see us. Well, it would be weird if he could see you.
Yeah, I'm back.
I can't see you either.
I'm actually on the weird. Can you hear me, Sean? Can you hear me?
I hear you again. Yep.
Okay, great. So
I do.
I'm
yes.
Okay, I'm on the 401 and I'm watching a very badly driven Tesla do all kinds of bad things in traffic ahead of me.
Now, do you think that the Tesla is doing it, or is it the driver who's supposed to be responsible for driving that vehicle?
That is the actual driver behind the wheel. It's not full self-driving doing that kind of nonsense. That's for sure.
Because it would be better, right?
The moves between lanes and all the nonsense this driver was doing would be better if full self-driving was doing it. Yes.
So, and that's the thing. It's bad when when a computer will likely improve the overall driving experience for the good drivers on the road. We have so many bad drivers that I think the computer doing it will actually be a marked improvement. We have Angel who says, awesome show. Thank you very much. We got Tracy who says, hi. And then Floyd Lightman says, Fred Flintstone car is cool. Then we jumped in back to a bunch of people who, actually, maybe I can scroll up, see if we have, nope, we're up to date there on the Instagram. Sonia Bizarro sent the gift. Thank you very much, Sonia. Good to see you. Sonia and I have been talking about what's going on with the drama. Sonia's and Kelly KO Chick wants to know if it's illegal to look at your Apple Watch while driving a vehicle. That's an interesting question, because when the distracted driving laws first came out a number of years ago, that was all over the media because someone got a ticket for it. And I was not impressed with this concept. I said, it's not handheld, it's wrist mounted. And here's the difference. If you're raising it to look at the time, it's no different than a watch. If you are interacting with the screen, if you're reading messages, or if you're, activating Siri or getting involved with it, it's a handheld communication device according to law. So you would get charged and convicted in court because there's case law to support it, which would be not fun if it was $615 and 3 demerit points and a 3-day suspension on your license. So don't do that. Don't do that. Stephen Bell says, yesterday here in London, Ontario, had 2 collisions, all drivers and passengers. Oh, collisions. My bad. Well, I should have known what you were saying. So London, Ontario had 2 collisions, all drivers and passengers okay, no charges laid. We know both vehicles flipped upside down. No kidding. That's not a good day. If you are upside down, and I'll never forget the story my buddy told me when he flipped his car. Kevin was driving home and he managed to cover the entirety of his vehicle in Diet Coke, because apparently when you flip a car at speed, the Diet Coke from McDonald's becomes everywhere. So
Yeah, I believe that. I have been upside down in a car on a racetrack though.
I've watched some great video of you crashing cars and avoiding cars being in the midst of a crash. Legendary.
Yeah, the very popular one is me avoiding multiple collisions on the racetrack and coming out unscathed in a brand new race car.
That I really enjoyed that video. I'll have to cue it up. Inga jumped in. How you doing, Inga? Good to see you. Inga does a lot of education and amazing stuff in the car safety and collision community in terms of helping people. So glad to have you on the show. We're watching the show. Good to see you. Haven't spoken to you in a long time. Hope you're doing well. The official FX Jason 58 asks, is it illegal to have a steering wheel knob on your steering wheel? This is sure to be an interesting conversation. Steering wheel knob. What do you think?
I think that makes you a knob.
I think it makes an interesting tattoo on your forehead if you meet it during a collision. I think it's a hazard, a danger, but oddly enough, it's not illegal. I grew up thinking it was. I really believed it was illegal, but there's nothing in the HTA that I can find to support a charge in relation to it. And if it's something to assist someone with a disability of some kind, it's an assistive device, and it might be a legitimate thing to have. I don't think it's needed in your Lexus. You can drive that with one finger with all the power assist. I think it's not worth having.
Yeah, they come from a different era when there was, slow steering racks and you had to turn the wheel and turn the wheel and turn the wheel.
Yes, when it was not power, you needed to have that leverage to pull on it, and it was bigger than a basketball hoop for a steering wheel. Like, we're talking a big wheel. We're not in that situation. It's just for lazy drivers, if you can even call them a driver.
Yeah.
As I bash the guy who wants to probably put it on his car. Listen, I get it. I understand. In a classic car, go for it. In a car with an airbag and all the stuff in the world that's designed to help you, don't put it on there.
Yeah.
Lauren says, hey, first time catching you on a live. Lauren, I'm glad that you caught me on a live. We're doing this weird evening thing for a while now, and it's allowed a lot of people who have never seen us to jump into a live. So if you got questions, we have answers. And just to reintroduce, in the circle is Brian Max. He's a race car driver, race team owner, journalist in the car biz, former radio host, or I guess you're just a radio host without a show at the moment, but a guy who does a lot of stuff and things, and he's a YouTuber. You should check out his channel, which I will put up on screen. It's at Brian Max on all social media platforms. And then I am the other guy in the red shirt, Sean Shapiro, former police officer, guy who talks about stuff and things, even if you don't want to hear about it. And if you've got questions, I'm happy to answer them. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law stuff when it comes from a police perspective. And Brian, of course, talks about the race car driver side of things.
Yep. And we have interesting perspectives on driving, that's for sure. Totally different, and I think we're annoyed by a lot of the same kinds of driver behavior.
Yeah, you would think that a race car driver and a cop would have very different perspectives, but you go fast in a very specific environment. Whereas I want people to not go fast unless they're in the environment that you're in, which is a racetrack.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, but the thing, like, straight off the top, driving fast on public roads is just the silliest idea, because you're driving around people with, for me anyway, with a much lower set of skills, so that you can't rely on them. When I'm on the racetrack racing, everybody has earned a racing license, so they've gone through schools, and people like me have signed off that they're okay to go race. So it's a totally different environment. But so now I've left the highway and I'm on city streets. There are intersections and pedestrians and cyclists and who knows what else. Plus the road surface in North America, there are very few good roads. On the racetrack, the road surface is perfect. It's lovely. It's reliable. It doesn't
It's
change.
like they maintain it because it's a racetrack or something.
Yes.
Let's see here. We got questions from Jim. Wants to know if he comes from Alberta where we can have broken and chipped windshields, will I get a ticket? So why are you sure you're allowed to have broken and chipped windshields? Because you can't even have tint on the windows. It all depends. You could get a ticket. Yes, it's an unsafe situation here. Would it stick? But why are you sure Alberta doesn't require you to have a safe windshield? Because let's ask Logan. I'm gonna text Logan.
Where's Logan?
Let's see here. Brian Max wants to know why you're not on the show. Also, we have a question. Are you allowed to drive in Alberta with a broken or chipped windshield? Listeners want to know. Or I guess it's viewers. Okay, I've asked the question. That's me dictating to Siri, which is a wonderful thing because typing that would have been a pain in the butt. Lauren wants to know in the meantime, while we're waiting for Logan to answer, it's he says, I have another intersection as well where the police put in a speed trap. Okay. Lauren drove his rental with one, and cops said nothing when they pulled me over. Not following what you're talking about, Lauren.
Maybe it's a chipped or broken windscreen.
No, different person.
Okay.
I think it's different. Yes, it was Jim who was asking about that from Alberta. Lauren is in Ontario. Oh no, I see. Lauren, I think, is in Ontario. Jason wants to know if Monty is in the car with you.
Monty is not in the car with me. He's hanging out with his two besties, his dog mom and dog mom's best friend visiting from Vegas.
Okay, dog mom's and dog mom's best friend. No Monty in the car, and I actually knew that, but I thought it would be funny to go through the process of having the answer. Nobody's here. Jess says, question: how much is the fine if I get pulled over and don't have my ownership slip? In the province of Ontario, that's $110. Yeah, you got to be able to surrender your license, your ownership, and insurance. So if it's just the ownership slip, it's $110. Can you fight that in court? It's not fighting that you had it, but very often if you take your ownership and go here, they just drop it. I don't know why they do that, because you still were guilty at the time. But the courts do weird and wonderful things. Siddiqui, I think it's Siddiqui 2000 says, video call drive is illegal. Video call drive would be illegal if the screen was visible to him, but the camera is pointed at him. It is not illegal if he's not looking at the screen. But good on you for calling us out on that, because if we were guilty of that, that would be bad. But seeing as we are two consummate professionals, we wouldn't do such a thing.
Yeah, all I can do is hear you.
Yes, and drive, and you know where the camera is. So if you happen to glance at it, it's because you're looking towards the camera for personal connection. But it's not against the law to look at a camera. It's against the law to look at a screen.
Yeah. So what I did is I set up the camera at the A pillar, so it's actually not even obscuring my view.
He has suction cups and doodads and mounts because he does this professionally.
And the funny thing is, Sean, I didn't even have to leave the driver's seat. I parked at the side of the road and I had everything here in the car with me.
Well, we did some cool shooting today where we had cameras in the center, cameras on the outside, cameras on the hood. Like, we were doing all sorts of fun stuff. It is awesome when you have all the right camera equipment to do the job. And Jim says, long as okay. So apparently I'm checking for a response from no, Logan is busy. He's not responding. Apparently they've been so busy there in Brooks that he's been working a lot of night shifts. So I'm sure in between traffic stops he'll give me a holler and say what's up. Okay. Bruce wants to know, why do people driving behind me get mad when I come to a complete stop at a four-way stop? Because those people
they don't want to stop.
They are more important than everybody else. They want to go somewhere and they don't want to wait for you. Listen, why do people get upset with me when I drive the speed limit? Because they're more important than everybody else. That's it. I don't know any other reason. But don't give in. Stay strong, brother. Complete stops are the way to go. I think it's great. I can do the count to 3 military stop just to be certain that their head explodes while they're behind me. It's a them problem.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And what I find in the city is if you are not leaving from a stop before the light turns red, a lot of the Uber drivers will honk their horns at me.
That's difficult to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Jason thought that Jason thought that Jason was your bestie. Jason's just throwing it out there.
Okay.
Let's see here. Woozy says, just had my classic 08 Lexus totaled because a driver didn't understand a yield sign. Scary.
Oh, that's no good.
But when you say classic 2008 Lexus, am I old enough? Is that a classic now?
No,
I mean,
not. I mean,
30 years, right?
It doesn't matter. I mean, they can be. What did I drive a couple years ago? I drove a 2004 Mazda RX-8 a couple of years ago, so that would have been 20 years old. But a 2008 Lexus is kind of getting there. But if it's well maintained, it's the kind of car that'll last forever.
Or it's a unique vintage. There are vehicles that are given classic status or different collector status because of weird variants, and it may have been a very beautiful one. Very sorry to hear of your loss, because that when you love a set of wheels, there ain't nothing better. And having it ruined because someone doesn't know how to drive is a piss off. And I feel for you. We should all have a moment of silence for the 2008. Okay, we're not doing that, but I get it. I totally get it.
Or pour one out, as they say.
That's it. Waddell Engineering, who I keep on talking about his new drone, says in Alberta, every rental I've ever had has a broken window. They use gravel as it's too cold for salt. Oh, so based on the way they maintain their roads or don't maintain their roads, they have broken windows. I'd be sending the bill to the ministry or to the local municipality. That sucks. Ed wants to know if he can drive in Ontario with his Australian license. Well, Ed, if you're visiting, yes, as a visitor, you can come here and drive for a period of time as a visitor. But if you become a resident, or you're going to school here, or you're taking up any length of time as you're renting a home and you're staying for months, getting a job, school, whatever, then you're a resident. You got to get an Ontario license. But as a visitor, absolutely.
Yeah, I've driven in Australia on an Ontario driver's license, and I only drove cool cars when I was there.
So I drove not so cool cars because it was the rental that I had, but I did rent motorcycles while I was in Cairns, and I will tell you that it is a bit freaky to drive a motorcycle while you are on the wrong. Like, there's nothing to remind you that the roads are backwards. I say backwards. I totally legitimate. That's normal for you, backwards for me. When you're sitting on the right side, shifting gears with your left, it's weird and wonky, but you go, I'm in Australia. So, it's totally reasonable. Motorcycle, you forget. And I'll never forget. I used to ride my motorcycle down to, what's it called? Not Acadia. Americade, which was in what the hell is it? It's in New York State. And there was a guy who was a huge dude. They called him Whale. That was his nickname because he was probably 400 pounds. And he imported his Goldwing from Australia to Americade and rode the beautiful roads in the mountains there. Anyway, after the event, he went onto the wrong side of the road and got killed. It was tragic, just tragic. But motorcycle, no reminder. Car is a little bit of a hint. Yeah. There's my less fun story about Australian driving. Mind you, it was American driving. Just not Australia driving in America. But you can totally do it. Ryan says, I've experienced 5% tint windows and 35% tint windshield. I find it nicer to drive. What do you think? So, well, you're suggesting actually in backwards numbers. 5% means 95% blockage, only 5% getting through, which is absolutely positively illegal in Ontario and I think most of North America. 35% tint means that you are still absolutely illegal, even for the side windows, but without question illegal in both Alberta and in Ontario. Because in Alberta, you can have no tint at all on the windshield or the windows directly left and right of the driver. In Ontario, you can have no more than 30% blockage, meaning 70% of the light has to get through in the windows left and right of the driver, but nothing at all whatsoever can be on the windshield. So can I appreciate a little bit of tint? Sure, but not if it's breaking the law.
Yeah, and the really dark tint, all that. I'm not a police officer, but if I were a police officer, forget about the fact that the windows are darkly tinted.
And you
context of the law, the fact that they're so. What I was saying that, okay, so forget the fact that the dark tint is illegal in Ontario. When I see a car with really darkly tinted windows, that says to me that they probably are up to something.
Well, there's the up to something because you want to pick your nose or because you're carrying firearms, one of the two, or you don't want to be caught because you have warrants. Like it's called a heat score. It's a reason for police to look at you. Now, I do understand that if you are driving a Mini or you are driving a smart car, you want to darken that stuff up because nobody wants to say, hi, I'm driving this car. But aside from that, and I can tell you that I almost bought a smart car because I thought it was just like I was being cheap. I didn't want to spend money on gas. And if it wasn't for the fact that my right knee kept knocking it into neutral, and there is no park, it's just a neutral pop, I couldn't drive. It was ridiculous. I would have had to 3D printed a brace to keep my leg off the shifter or cut it. I don't know. I would have tinted the windows to avoid being recognized.
Now, I do have to say the new Minis are really quite lovely.
Minis are cool. They're itty bitty BMWs, right?
Yeah, they're the most premium small cars you can buy, and everybody complains about the price, but when you put it in context of small cars, they are the most well finished, most well resolved small cars you can buy.
I have very little experience with them. I've not even tried to sit in one because they make my knees hurt looking at them. But aside from that, and I mean, I'm 6'5". I ain't fitting in that. We're never going to do a Sean Buys a Car episode in the Mini. It's just going to be a circus bear climbing into a.
Oh, I don't know that they're
really
big on the inside now. Yeah.
It's a TARDIS. It's another TARDIS. Interesting.
It is. Yeah. It's kind of like this Rivian. We didn't think it was going to be big on the inside, and it's enormous on the inside.
The Rivian was a little bit of a space-time continuum thing. It didn't make sense. I got into it. I was very, very impressed. And then when I was driving behind you afterwards, I'm kind of like, it's about the same size as a Ford Explorer, but it felt bigger on the inside.
Yes, much bigger. They've done a great job with packaging, and part of that has to do with the fact that it's an EV. But I didn't think that you're going to be so comfortable in this thing, and yet you are. And same thing goes for some new Minis. I think you'll find yourself very comfortable. So
I will. We're not open to the possibility.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna prioritize that for a Sean Buys a Car episode, but I think you'd fit.
Good to know. I take the challenge. I will, if as long as there's people to help me get out of the car. I did go into Media Day a number of years ago now, and it was the Miata booth, and I managed to wedgie myself into the Miata, and it had a tonneau cover on it. They had to remove that to get me out of the car. I was stuck. It was not cool.
Just FYI, I avoided a collision here, and it was totally not my fault. Somebody just breezed through an uncontrolled intersection in my path.
It happens constantly. And that's why dash cams are so important. And you've partnered with a company on dash cams, and I constantly promote dash cam use. If you don't have one, you should get one. And if you want to buy one, I've got links on the askatrafficcop.ca website that actually help support the show. They're affiliate links with the Amazonian company there. Yeah, but they're the ones I believe in. And you've got good stuff to talk about. You support the Viofo brand.
Yeah, well, we did a collaboration with Viofo in the fall, and it's a wonderful thing. I use it frequently when I remember to bring it in a different car. And in next month in June, we are doing a collaboration with Red Tiger and their 4K front and rear dash cam and a full color low light interior camera as well.
Three cameras. Okay, I'm interested in that because
Yeah.
and especially I guess the Uber drivers would be interested in that. But I'm all about having high res cameras on everything. I want to record. I don't trust anyone anymore. I don't know if I ever really did, but if you have someone that's involved with something going on, you want to record everything. I have the audio recording in my car. If there's a collision, or if I'm seeing something, I'm dictating to that recording device what I'm seeing, so I can assist myself in recalling information that I may need to provide police. The official FX Jason 58 says, I'm from Northern Ontario and there are only a couple of tracks. Is it a good idea for me to attempt to build a track? Can you build your own racetrack?
So some friends of mine are doing that north of Barrie. They own a facility and it's currently being built. We're going to visit that this summer.
Cool. Oh, you paused for a second there. While we wait for your connection that just completely disappeared, I imagine he'll reconnect once he unmounts the phone to be able to reconnect to the phone. It's a bit of a thing. It's still connected, but there's no picture. So I'm just going to read the second thing. The official FX Jason 58 says, my dream car was a 1999 Miata, but sadly I got to sit in it. Or sorry, I got to sit in one, but I'm too big for it. Oh, you're 6'6", brother. I know your pain, man. I'm 6'5". There's very little that I fit into comfortably, and a Miata ain't it. So let's see what we got here while we wait for Brian. E2, here, E2 Rizio 9 says, if I have my G1, by the way, I'm in Markham, can I drive like in an empty parking lot by myself? Yes, you can in a parking lot. You don't even need a license to drive in a parking lot legally. You're still eligible for charges if you are, if you break laws that contravene stunt driving or careless driving. So you can still be charged even if you don't have a license, but you can legally operate a vehicle on private property. Assuming you're allowed to, yes. Okay. But there's the other thing. How did you get it there? Like if you had to drive on public roads to get there, it's a problem because you can't do that. But once you're there, if the car was left for you and you're driving it around, that's legitimate. Oh, Brian's back. Hello. I see you had to do the twist.
I just reconnected. I'm actually stopped now, but I have no idea. Technology.
It's a magical thing
Mm-hmm.
when it works.
Yes. Yes.
Let's see here. So the question while you were away, it was two-part. One, FX Jason 58 said, my dream car was a 99 Miata, but sadly I got to sit in one and I'm too big. He's 6'6", so bigger than me. And yes, that's too damn small. I wanted that Honda 2400 or whatever it was, the Honda 2000.
Yeah.
I thought that was an awesome car.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of cars, and you're too tall for a lot of them, unfortunately. I think I was responding to the question about a racetrack.
Yes, Jason wanted to know if he should build his own.
Well, I hope Jason is a centimillionaire or at least a multi-decamillionaire. Because it's not inexpensive. Some friends of mine are part of the group at Oro Station, which is a new facility going in north of Barrie, and it's an incredible investment and a lot of work, and it's cool, but then it becomes a job, and it's very difficult to do there. At Oro Station, they're doing it right. They're taking their time and making sure that the track itself is perfect, and they're building, facilities all around it, different kind of buildings and that sort of thing. But it's much easier to, pack up your things from Northern Ontario and go down to, places like Canadian Tire Motorsport Park or Shannonville and other circuits, and spend your time wisely spend your time and money wisely doing that.
Well, it's funny if you look at the Highway Traffic Act, unless you have a track, you can't do certain things, even on private property. But as I read it, the more I read it, the more I believe that if you actually built a purpose-built track in your backyard, you might be able to get away with stunt driving on private property, as long as you can. It would be arguable in court, but it's not. It's not a legitimate. It's not a racetrack. It's a thing that you built as a track. It doesn't say like officially approved racetrack in the act. It says a racetrack.
Right. So I guess you could put a sign up at the end of the driveway saying, racetrack, do not enter.
That may not do it, but it really, it's an interesting thing, and it's not for me to tell you it's legal. It's for a lawyer, and that's who's going to be defending you if I'm incorrect on my guess. But I used to say it was absolutely not private property permitted unless it was permitted, and you had paramedics and all the things that would make a racetrack a racetrack. But as I keep reading it, I'm like, it doesn't get that nitty gritty about it. So it's something that would be a triable situation for court, and it's not me who's going to be defending you. So
exactly, it'd be very expensive to defend that one.
I think so. Sonia Bizarro says people are mad when she stops at an amber light instead of proceeding through the intersection. And that is one of those factors where you have to take into consideration. So an amber light, a yellow light means stop unless it's unsafe to do so. And people usually get that mixed up with hit the gas, go faster to make sure you get through before it turns red. That's not what it means. And you can be charged for running an amber light.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And, that's in the city that I'm always concerned about that. So I've got eyes up in the mirror and I don't, everybody in the city seems to be in a rush and willing to break laws.
He says it was going to be a dirt track. That's what he was planning on building. And Brian Rogers says, any opinion on the proliferation of people with fake or no plates? Never used to see it. Now it's every day. Cops ever talk about it? Oh yeah. And we have an array, or at least when I was there, we had an array of samples of the ones we lifted from confiscated. There are ones that are 3D printed. Now we have 2 multicolor 3D prints that look quite good. We have a vinyl cut where people are taking blank white license plates, taking blue vinyl, sticking it on. Looks pretty good from a distance. I've seen paper. I've seen cardboard. Now there's actually a company that makes novelty plates that look damn similar.
Of course.
And I met them. Hey, Mike Harris, TPA, what's going on? They're absolutely replicas, but using that replica would be against the law.
Yep.
And I mean, one of the companies gave me one. I have one here, and it was just a vinyl cut or a what's it called? Anyway, a process to make one, and it was great. I think I put an Ask a Traffic Cop on it. It was just to put in the back of the magic of the studio. And Woozy's Lexus that he lost, ISF Lexus.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, that would qualify as collector status. That's a very special one, Sean.
No good.
No.
And Jason says that Monty's best. Sorry, I thought I was Monty's bestie because he eats all his cookies.
Monty doesn't get cookies.
Interesting. Jason's feeding cookies to someone who doesn't eat cookies. This is strange. Let's see here. Lauren says, nice seeing you. Hopefully you come over to my intersection. Right on. There was a question of, can crossing guards direct traffic?
We've had this conversation before.
You and I, or Jason and you?
Oh, that Jason. Hi, Jason. Yes. So I think Jason and you and I have had this conversation about crossing guards. And did Jason ask this question?
Yes.
Yeah. So where we have coffee in the morning, Jason, Monty, my wife, and I. Monty doesn't have coffee. Monty has Jason's cookies. And now I know exactly. Yeah, now I know exactly what he's talking about. There is sometimes a crossing guard who directs traffic, he's looking official. He's directing traffic illegally, and I'm surprised he hasn't caused collisions by people obeying his direction. It's astonishing. I tried speaking with him once. He's unwilling to have conversations. So I spoke with my local police division. They seem disinterested, and
Well, they are
I think
managed by a company. They're privately operated now, and they would love to hear from you, I'm sure.
oh, I bet they would.
In fact, I know somebody, so let me know where that intersection we're talking about is. Azrael says, "Hello from Kyiv. Hello, you're the first international voice I've heard, other than Australia, which is still very international. But hope you're doing well there." Lot DB 777 has lots to say, to the point of almost spam, and they said, this is on the tinted windows topic when we were making fun of it. He was taking great offense. He said, "Could just be one a cool looking car. Why do you guys want to steal all our rights and take everything away from us? It helps the ripple effect, keeps everybody employed, helps hire people. Companies make money. Company hire people." I'm really adding a lot of spiel here.
Yeah.
Could just be they have tens. Doesn't mean they're up to something. Tens. Okay. Oh, tints. He corrected it afterwards. So sad how you guys act like this. So sad how you guys can sit there and act like you never been kids or young adults.
I don't pretend to do that. We're certainly not going to discuss the things I did when I was a kid, but I've learned a lot more about vehicle dynamics now. And had I known then what I know now, I certainly wouldn't have done those things.
I did a lot of things when I was stupid and young. And that's not to say all young people are stupid, but I certainly was when I was at a certain age, and I did dumb stuff. And that's why laws got created. I didn't actually create the laws, and my actions didn't necessarily result in laws being created. However, that's a real deal. Like when we're making bad decisions because we want to have cool, righteous rides, like that doesn't make it a good idea. And they said, Lot DB 777 says, "Let people live, let people enjoy their items." And he goes on to say, "So sad the police go after tints. Soon they're going to give parking tickets." Let's see here. He loves his tinted cars. Can you talk about this? You should be allowed to tint your car. Here's the deal. You should absolutely be allowed to tint your car if the law allows. And there's really good reasons. In fact, I've published articles about tinted windows. They're not just about making sure you can pick your nose privately. It's about reducing, or what they effectively do is reduce the ability for people outside of your vehicle to see inside of your vehicle, which is probably what you're saying. Well, that's exactly what I'm looking for. However, that's restricting nonverbal communication. It's making our roads less safe. It's not a good idea. It's just not a good idea. Let's see here. Sonia Bizarro says they do give tickets for tints. Yes. Oh, Azrael says, "Last time I was in a Miata, my chin was over the windshield. 6'5" life." I got you, Azrael. I'm living that 6'5" life. And over on Instagram, we've got our friend there who's an inch taller than us. It is a thing. We have fewer vehicles we fit comfortably in. It's a problem.
That's how it goes.
Melody, what's going on? Melody is a mechanic and a magical person who says you should tint your windows you have the ability to tint your windows. However, you have to do it legally. And of course, Lot DB 777 is just getting upset. So what can I do? He said, "Don't reply to me. I'm talking to Sean."
Okay.
Okay,
I'm keen to get some more input on intersections and cities that we need to explore for bad driving.
Yes. So to give everyone a recap who may have jumped in later, today we spent some time in Whitby. We were doing some other stuff nearby filming, and then afterwards we drove around Whitby looking for bad drivers, quite literally. Put a bunch of cameras on the car, went for a drive, and shockingly found very little to excite us about their bad driving. In fact, they got pretty good marks.
Mm-hmm. Again, it wasn't a scientific sample, but did we see any drivers at all using their phones while they were driving? And it was zero. We saw none. It was remarkable.
It was shocking that there was not something to be more excited about in terms of, because we were looking for failure and we didn't find any. So it was shocking that we weren't shocked by the amount, we were only shocked by the lack of shocking stuff.
Yeah, and just decent driving, except for the guy in the Tesla who had the gangster lean going on.
There were a couple of people who were like in the back seat, but I don't even know if they were operating the vehicle. It could have been auto magic.
Well, he had his hand at the top of the steering wheel, so I guess,
Oh,
or
yeah,
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
trying to look good. I don't know.
Well, maybe he's that's where he rests, so it tells the car he's still there.
Right.
Let's see here. Oh, lot. I hate to give this person so much attention, but they said lot DB 777 says you guys said people with tints are hiding weapons. So if you have a beard, are you in a biker gang? Uh, it's not. We're not saying they are, but they might be. It's harder to see. It's it's one of those things. You make some assumptions. So I guess we're in a beard gang. We're the beardos.
That's like, I guess that's fine.
It's
I'll
okay.
go with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. So Nelly's Firehouse Gaming says there's no law saying you can't have the tint. It's just that you can't drive with the tint.
Exactly.
This is very true. Now, Azrael, who's in Kiev, says, I tinted my taillights because so people can see me better. Yes. It's sort of the same logic. He's making fun at Lot DB. Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know. He's going on. Let's see. He says, Babe or Babrith. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Says, I have a parking question. I don't know if I have a parking answer, but by all means, ask your question. Conservative something or other, can't read the whole thing, says, more people, laser jammers, and radar detectors. I love this topic. People with radar detectors and radar detectors and laser jammers, which are both illegal in the province of Ontario, although radar detectors, I don't know about jammers, but radar detectors are legal in Alberta. I don't think they should be legal anywhere. They are just stupid. They allow people to get away with breaking the law and putting lives at risk. So why would we let them do that at all?
I mean, the whole idea is just strange to me, because like if you have this desire to go fast, well, just take it to the track, like, honestly. And in southern Ontario, you really can't drive fast anywhere on the highways because they're so full of traffic, let alone this time of year. The potholes are still out there from the winter. It's just not a good idea.
No, well, it's not a good idea, and we do catch those people, and it's serious charges if you get nailed. Stunt driving is going to ruin your life, and that's if they don't charge you with criminal dangerous driving. That's assuming you don't hurt anybody, and we get the crashes all the time where people are doing 160, 170, and it just destroys the vehicle, kills people. It's not a good idea. You're not as good a driver as you may think you are. And the technology that's installed in these cars to keep you alive has been doing great things thus far, but you can't rely on that. Don't do it.
No.
Motorcycle Experience, who messaged a while ago, I apologize for ignoring you up until now. I meant to respond earlier and then didn't. So he says hello from Etobicoke. Says, I have a 2022 Harley Davidson lowrider. I plan to maintain and take very good care of it. Hopefully have it as a classic motorcycle. So the question is, if my car and license is from British Columbia and I have a radar detector physically installed when I travel to Ontario, would I be required to move it if I'm only visiting for 2 weeks? It's against a lot of transport in Ontario. The only time you can legally transport it is if it was in its original manufacturer sealed container. And here's the kicker: if it was being shipped by the consignee from the transport company to the end user out of province. So you can't even drive through Ontario with the device in your vehicle technically. It has to be as part of the pack shipped from the factory in its original packaging en route to its destination, like with UPS or whoever. Because they make them. Bell makes them in Ontario.
Oh, didn't know that.
Has to be exported. You can't drive around with it. So if chances are, if you disconnect it, put it in the trunk, we're never going to know about it. But if it was determined that you had one, police have the lawful authority to search your vehicle, seize the radar detector by any means necessary, meaning they can disassemble your car to get it. And as soon as the screwdriver comes out, 9 times out of 10, someone says, "I don't touch my car. Here's a radar detector." It magically appears and they surrender it. Funny how that works.
Yes.
They go on to say, if I had a device installed in my car and have a dash camera which tracks my speed, is this evidence to use against a speed ticket or other tickets? These are different questions, but also a good question. So
That's a great
is your
question.
device calibrated? Is it admissible in court? It would definitely be an argument. You could bring that up into court and say, hey, I have this record saying I didn't do it. The police would say, here's my evidence to say you did do it. You'd be making your argument. It would be up to the independent trier of fact, being the justice of the peace, to determine who was or was not guilty. It's a thing.
Yep.
Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Azrael says CRTC laws. Oh, I don't know how CRTC would apply for it. So Azrael is in Ukraine, but is from Canada, which makes a lot more sense why he's answering stuff about Canada. Trouser Snake, great username, says detectors don't even work anymore. Most agencies use LiDAR, so once it's triggered, you're done. And yes, there is a lot of that. And to some degree, the radar detectors are kind of a great game, because every time they go past a car that has active radar sensors like a Tesla, it goes off. So it might actually work to slow people down. Who knows? But laser jammers, anything that prevents police from measuring your speed is against the law. Speaking of police, the Northern Cop says, good evening, Sean. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good evening to you too. Ryan, the Thin White Line Interceptor, waved his hand and said hello. Brian Rogers says, cheers, thanks for the answer. But now I don't. Oh, Brian Rogers was asking about the other stuff back there. The official FX Jason 58 says, I heard a rumor that a tint on the back passenger windows and rear window will be illegal. Is this true? Because I'm unsure of it. What do you know about this magical federal law coming into effect? And
I guess all we can say on this subject is that AI generated video is getting good enough to fool a lot of people.
Have you seen the stuff from Google that just came out? I lost you there. Do I have audio? What's going on here? Oh, wait, hang on. Something just happened and I lost your audio. Something strange happened. No, I just totally lost you. He's coming back. That was so weird. Okay, let's have a look here. And Brian Rogers, you're right. Nobody wants to hear that Honda Civic straight piped. Okay. Did we lose audio? Hang on, we might have lost all audio. Oh, no, it's back. No, we're good. Weird. And here's Brian. Hey there.
Sorry.
I hear you again.
Technology. And
it
and
works
actually,
great when it works.
Yeah, it's time for me to sign off.
You got to go? That's your cue?
I got to go. Yes.
Well, in truth, it's been an hour and 2 minutes, and I got to go too. So I'll say goodnight to you. I'll run through a couple of questions before we shut it down, but then I've got to go and do some stuff and things upstairs. It was a pleasure hanging out with you today, filming the stuff we filmed, and thanks for jumping into the live. It was great hanging out again.
We'll my pleasure, and good night to you, Sean, and everyone else. Have a good night.
Have a good one. Be well. Okay, that was Brian Max. You can get him at brianmax.com. In the meantime, let's have a quick look at the rest of the questions and catch up. What do we got here? Oh, motorcycle. You had lots of stuff here. Can you buy a parking lot and use it for drag or drifting? You need to get a permit, I think, officially, but we were discussing that earlier. When I sync it to my computer, converts PDF format manufacturer. I don't know. The question is whether or not it would be acceptable. It would definitely be a triable thing. Okay. Owners can, different thing. Felix Catnip says, I've started using the Safer Roads app. Thanks for the suggestion. You hit low 90s? Well, I think so. I've been in the high 80s. I've not been able to get into the 90s, and I think it's because my my phone holder moves a little bit. It's a cup holder one, and I want to be able to mount it, but I don't want to drill into my dash. I don't want to stick stuff there, so I have it in a phone holder, and it kind of wobbles, and I think that's what's driving my scores down. But good for you. I got to get a team going, and then we'll get you on the team too. Thanks for the feedback. I'm glad. If you want to know about safer roads, that is I can't show it to you, but if you go to askatrafficcop.ca, oh, here, I'll do this. I shall do this. Okay. So now I'm in the little screen. Hang on a second. Boop-a-doop-a-doo, doop-a-doo-doo-doo. That's weird. So weird. I wanted to switch that. Oh, this is the one I want to customize. Okay, we'll put this one here. We'll make myself smaller. This one, I can put it there. There we go. I'll just bring my mic over here and stay in the center. So this is the window. And if you go to askatrafficcop.ca, you can let me make that bigger. Enter for your chance to win. It's not one of those things where you just get to set up a draw and do it. What you can do is actually install the app and become a safe driver. And by becoming a safe driver, you get points and entries towards the $100,000 grand prize. But there's lots of prizes along the way, and you could win gift cards galore. I think there's 250 gift cards. That's what I think it is. So that's the deal. If you go there, you can get a code to join and start tracking your driving now. Sounds scary. It's not. I've been doing it, and you can. If you're a passenger, people always say, "Well, what happens if I'm a passenger in a motor vehicle?" Well, that was me today. I was a passenger, and I just said that particular drive was not me driving. It was simple as can be. Askatrafficcop.ca for more on that. Okay. Let's see what else. I'm going to try and catch up quickly because then we got to go. Okay. Epic Life Enthusiast says, it's been a pleasure to listen to you guys. Well, thank you very much, Epic Life. Glad to have you back. It's been a while. Okay, so yes, and it was so going back to the official FX Jason 58 talking about the rumor about the tint. It was an AI generated thing. They were talking about lifted trucks, and it was Carney saying it. Like it's not happening. That is all under the purview of the individual province, and it was apparently a really bad video. Okay, we've got. Haven't heard that or seen anything. Was an AI? Yes, good. That's the one. Okay. The dialogue. Brian Rogers, do cops ever plan on sitting in off ramps to catch those dangerous drivers who cross the gore trying to skip traffic? It's an everyday occurrence in the 404 off ramp at the 401. I would be letting the OPP know like crazy. I do see them on occasion. They're not there enough, but it is a problem. I see it all the time. And but the problem is they only have a certain number of officers for a very large area, and they're usually responding to crashes because people can't drive. All right. What's the max length in total for a half-ton truck with trailer? Is it change of the box to remove and turn into a tractor? Look at your license for. I think the back of your driver's license is going to tell you the total. I don't remember the number offhand, but I have to look it up. Dave says hello again. Had to leave, but currently at OPC. Currently at OPC. I can hear you. Audio is good. Thank you for the confirmation. Okay. Jake here, good to see you. Wants to know if there's any law about improper hands on the steering wheel. Could be careless driving. If you're doing something that is dangerous and it's negatively impacting your ability to drive safely, then that would be something that could be careless, but not specifically hand position. Oh, Northern Cop, we got to connect for a phone call. And I got to get back involved with these committees. I was talking to the MTL about jumping in and volunteering with some stuff. Okay. Oh, Sean ZR2. I used to have a ZR2. My name is Sean. Funny how that works. Mississauga on Dunwine Drive. That's another location. Do me a favor, DM me with it or put another comment on that video because I'm having ChatGPT scour all those, take votes on which one's the ones to prioritize, and go from there. Okay, what do we go here? Anthony says, I have a serious situation. I just sent a harassing scam caller to the Toronto Police non-emergency line. Was that smart? What do you mean? You sent them there. How do you send someone there? But scam caller, I mean, they're probably overseas. I don't know how much damage you're going to do. Okay. So Sonny had a parking question earlier. I think it was Sonny. Let me go back. Okay. Joe says running tinted windshield, auto cops don't even care. No, auto cops are preoccupied with other stuff, but they'll get to you eventually. Paul says hearing more tickets being given out as HTA unsafe move. Is it new or is it just rarely used? Unsafe move is been there forever. Uh, and if they were doing something unsafe, that's the most appropriate charge. And it's a lesser charge, I think, than going careless. You know, there's also start from stop, not in safety. There's all sorts of these. Grateful Girl says it's stupid in Alberta because you could hit a moose going 260 and you would die. Yeah, speeding is just stupid anyway. People don't want to admit it, but it is terrible. Terrible, I say. It was Battery. Okay, here we go. Baby Ree, maybe that's what's the name. Can you park in front of a fire hydrant as long as you're 6 feet away? Directly in front, but 10 feet away from the curb. No, and as Nellie's Firehouse Gaming says, if you parked in front of a fire hydrant, expect your windows to be bashed out if the fire hydrant is needed. You don't park near a fire hydrant. Just don't do it. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Bernhardt has Bernhardt says dad joke. He says he bought Velcro shoes. They were a total ripoff. Okay. Michael King says, got to ride along for the G7 motorcade today. Have you done escorts and any tips for drivers? I was a motor squad guy, so I did escorts all the time. And escorts for drivers who are in the motorcade or who are being delayed because of the motorcade. It depends on what your position is. Everyone has a role to play within a motorcade escort when it's being a full escort with motor officers doing it right. Take direction from your lead car. Okay, Sean says highway traffic act says it's okay to pass on a solid double yellow or solid white line. Is this true? It doesn't say it's okay. There's no charge for crossing the line. Not for crossing the line, but whatever you do once you've crossed the line, if it causes a collision or a problem, you're going to be responsible for it, and there are charges for that. Stephen Bell says, I like when you're live because I can ask you questions. You tell me things about HTA like always ran through a yellow light. Now I don't do that anymore. I'm so glad, Stephen. Stephen's been watching the show for a long time and still learns stuff. So it's awesomeness. Thanks so much. Okay. Sonny says, hey, Sean, what's with the confusing Toronto parking signage? Feels like decoding hieroglyphs. No kidding. Sometimes I take pictures of it before I actually take off and do stuff because I don't trust it and I want to double check. It's like ask 3 people. Does that mean what I think it means? I've received tickets for parking in Toronto, and I've paid them. So, okay, let's see here. Got it. Chris N. Paratis says you have said 5,000 was the least you could get for drive no insurance. So it's $5,000 to $25,000. That is the minimum fine for a drive no insurance or permit drive no insurance charge in Ontario. But that doesn't mean that it actually happens that way. Like I've had someone convicted and they said, well, when they got towed and they had to pay all this stuff and there's interest and they don't have a job. So with all this stuff, they did a calculation and they determined somehow on paper that it was $5,000, but they only had to pay $2,000. Okay. $5,000 to $25,000 is the range. That's the minimum it's supposed to be. But we see things outside of that. They can also send you to jail. They can also make you go to jail and give you the fine, but that doesn't always happen the way it's supposed to. The law says $5,000 to $25,000. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. We're going to be wrapping it up very shortly, and I'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. to do another one. So if you don't get your question answered now, we'll be back, and I've got to go in the next 5 minutes. What is this? We got when someone merges at the last minute when there is a lot of traffic to make that turn is illegal. What kind of if it's an unsafe turn, like unsafe lane change, you can't just merge last minute. You have to make a safe move into the lane when there's somewhere to go. Otherwise, you got to stop. You don't just get to force your way in. Now, the people who have the ability to let you in should let you in because being a good, friend on the road is a nice thing to do. And it's the right thing to do. But they don't always do it. Sonia Bizarro sent a cat or a hamster? But thank you very much for the gift. Bernhard says, grad's done, all badged up. Thanks for your input. Congratulations, brother. Welcome to the family. Really? Bernhard says that Ford is pushing to arm their specials. If they're arming their specials, why not just make them cops? Why do we have specials then? I don't understand, but it's good. Let's see here. How do you become a highway patrol officer? You first become a police officer and then get involved in traffic. Use Camaro. Right on. How's it going? Oxford White Pony says, I was rear-ended by an uninsured driver. Sorry to hear that. There is coverage available to through your insurance, but it's a crappy situation. Sorry to hear that. Hope you're okay. USA says, I got a novice escalating suspension on my license because I was speeding with a G2. It wasn't court. Sorry, I got a novice speeding escalation. So what happens if you get a ticket while you're a G1 or a G2? There's escalating measures. I was speeding with a G2. It wasn't court. I don't know what it wasn't court. Maybe that's a typo. Can this be dismissed in this way? That's up to what happens in court. Like if you're convicted, it comes with a suspension. If you're not convicted, it doesn't. But it sounds like you were, in a situation where you were speeding. And that's what happens when you speed, or you get caught. I can do a whole episode just on consequences of learners. They don't get it. Sonny says, thanks for all you do, Sean. I'm a counselor and have many cop clients. Y'all go through so much. Thanks very much, Sonny. Justin Nakatsuka says, is mandatory to have a trailer insured? Why doesn't the vehicle cover it? Trailer insurance is for theft. The vehicle drawing the trailer does cover it, from what I understand. I've never insured a trailer. I've never gotten special coverage for it. There may be caps to it. Look at your insurance coverage to make sure that your policy doesn't exclude it. It wasn't a court decision. It wasn't a court decision. If you have to be convicted to trigger the escalating measures. So if it hasn't been convicted, if they plead down to a lesser offense with fewer points, you have to trigger 4 demerit points. So if you were to plead down to 3 demerit points, you wouldn't get the suspension for the escalating measures. Canadian Ape says, can you charge for driving hands-free in self-driving car? Yes, for driving hands-free. So it's not against the law to drive hands-free, but you would be charged in a level 2 car. Level 3 is if you have a vehicle that requires you to actively supervise, you would be charged for distracted driving still. Nellie's Firehouse Gaming says, your vehicle covers insurance of the trailer as long as the trailer remains attached to your vehicle. If it becomes detached, you have a problem. That's what it is. Yeah, 1 out of 2. Gotta let me know when you're going to post the dash camera footage I sent you so I don't miss it. I'm so behind on that, Sonya, but I will. Let's see here. Passing over double yellow lines, legal or not? Passing over double yellow lines could be, it could be a problem because those double yellow lines are there to warn you, but there's no offense for crossing the line. It is a problem when you cause a collision. You'd be charged for everything you do. So if you cause a collision, you oopsie-dooed in a bad way. Felix wants to know what engine size I recommend for novice riders. It's about finding a bike that doesn't ride you, that you ride. You have to be in control of that machine until you learn how to understand the dynamics of motorcycling. It's not just riding a bicycle. You're not steering. You're managing the what's it called? Centrifugal force. You're push steering. You're learning all sorts of stuff. Take a course. Really, it's irrelevant what you drive. Don't buy a rocket. If you're in a cruiser, I don't think it matters what your displacement is, as long as you can lift it up. Okay. Canadian Ape says, thanks for all your answers, Sean. Appreciate you. Right back at you, brother. Thanks very much. Sonia wants to know if does a speeding ticket go on the plates if trading in a vehicle? Speeding ticket doesn't go on plates. It goes on your license. Mind you, if you have a automated enforcement ticket, it's related to the plates, but the plates are yours, not like they stay with you. You don't trade in your plates. You trade in the vehicle. M Devo, what's going on? M Devo says, I made a mistake. What's the mistake? That intersection with the white and yellow signs at Keele Street, North Park, north of Lawrence. Okay. I'm waiting for the rest. Here Now 905 says lower CC equals cheaper insurance for learners. Usually, absolutely. Lower displacement's going to be easier for you. Yes. Oh, Melody says, came up about safety inspections on bikes. Do foot pegs have to be foldable or breakaway? I've never heard of that. I've never had a question about that. I'm not aware of it having to be foldable. I'm sure there's vehicles that don't have them. I don't know. Felix says, this podcast is awesome. Well, thank you very much. Tell all your friends. Okay. Sonny says, my car has no cats. Working on that. When I inevitably get pulled over, what would that look like? It would look like a very expensive ticket. That is going to be no catalytic converters. I think you're in the $600+ range, because what used to be in the $600 or $800 environmental protection charges used to be outside of the HTA. Now they've been moved into the HTA. And maybe I'm wrong about the price, but it ain't no good. So I would get those. Let's see here. Justin says, I found learning motorcycle on a trials bike was very helpful for clutch, throttle control, and balance. Yeah, I imagine it would be. Sonia says, I'm calling it a night. My son is hyper. Great show, as always. You are amazing. Thank you very much, Sonia. Appreciate you. How can we get our traffic tickets withdrawn? Well, the best thing is to not break the law, and you don't get traffic tickets in the first place. But in terms of getting them withdrawn, I don't have answers for you. That's not my thing. I'm the guy that used to give tickets out, not fight them. If you're innocent, you're innocent. If you're not, you're in trouble. Okay. Official Jason, FX Jason 58 says, keep up the great work and have a great night. Much love for everybody. Thank you very much. And thanks to all of those who followed and never been here before, but I got to go. I'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Let's see here. Do you remember the one last question? Two last questions. Incenso says, do you recommend, if involved in an accident on private property, do you recommend calling an ambulance, as this way a report should be filed? A report can be filed anyway, and you don't calling an ambulance and wasting resources if you don't need an ambulance is not the right way to do things. Charges aren't laid on private property anyway. Just go to the collision reporting center if there's no injuries, or if they're minor injuries that you can go to your own doctor. Jake here says the zipper merger, each one takes a turn and merge, is heavily promoted in BC, but I don't see that here. There's signs promoting it in London, Ontario. I was recently in London visiting the steak dude and the steak guy, Mr. Steak. And I couldn't believe it. I tried I wanted to go back. I wanted my wife to take pictures of it, of the sign, and promote it on the show. I think we should have the zipper merge promotion everywhere. We should explain how it works so people stop being douchey about not letting people in. Okay. Good point. Nellie's Firehouse Gaming says, prove your innocence to get your traffic tickets withdrawn. That's the way to do it. Why do you ride a bike but drive a car? It's a very good question. Because you ride a bike and you drive a car. We don't do bikes. Friend does it at a shop. I have no idea. Gotcha. They should also do some type of promotion on proper use of a roundabout. Oh, God, don't get me started. I was going on about this today on the road. Yes. Melody, I went around the block. It was near, I was coming around a corner getting to Chop Steakhouse, I'm pretty sure. And that's where I saw the sign. A lot of construction there, but they were promoting it. Okay, Epic Life Enthusiast says, what do you call it when James Bond takes a bath? A 007. I like it. I like it a lot. What's Forrest Gump's email password? 1Forrest1. That's amazing. Okay. Sunny says, have a great night. Thank you for reminding me. I got to go. Have a great night. We will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Be safe, drive safe, smile, and get some sleep. It's late. Be well.